The afternoon sun poured through the big glass windows of Riverside Café, painting the tables in gold. The smell of roasted coffee beans mixed with sweet vanilla in the air. Soft jazz played in the background while cups clicked against saucers. At the far corner, Clara sat quietly in her pale blue nurse scrubs. Her hands trembled as she checked her phone for the 10th time. No message, no sign of him. She had worked all night at Children's Memorial and was running on almost no sleep and only $5 left until payday. Still, she had dressed neatly and brushed her hair twice, hoping her blind date wouldn't notice how tired she looked. Around her, people laughed, typing on shiny laptops and sipping large lattes. Clara stared at her small coin purse and whispered, "Please let him show up." Just then, the cafe door opened and a tall man stepped inside. His eyes searched the room and stopped right on her. Before we move forward, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it right now? And don't forget to like and subscribe to Black and Wronged for more heart-touching stories. Let's get started. Clara's heart skipped a beat. Was this her date? Or a stranger about to change her life forever? The man walked toward the counter, not toward her. Clara's shoulders dropped. Maybe he wasn't her date after all. She took a deep breath and stood up, slowly to order something, anything to look less awkward. Her fingers dug into her small purse. She counted each coin carefully. 1, 2, 3, $4.50. Just enough for a small cup of coffee. That was all she could afford. The barista looked up with a smile. But before he could speak, a calm voice came from behind the counter. "I'll take this one," said the man she had noticed earlier. His name was Samuel Harrow, the cafe's owner, but Clara didn't know that yet. He leaned forward kindly. "Welcome to Riverside. What can I get for you today?" Clara smiled shyly. "Just a small black coffee, please." Samuel noticed how she counted her coins one by one, her hands shaking slightly. There was something pure about it, something real. As she paid, he said warmly, "We're testing new pastries today. Would you like to try one and tell me what you think?" Clara blinked in surprise. "It's free?" she asked softly. Samuel smiled. "Completely free." She didn't know that this tiny offer was about to change everything. Clara sat down again, holding her warm cup and the free cinnamon roll. The sweet smell wrapped around her like comfort after a long, hard day. She took a bite, and for the first time in hours, she smiled. From behind the counter, Samuel watched quietly. He had seen thousands of customers walk through this cafe, but something about her felt different. Maybe it was her tired eyes or the way she thanked him as if the small pastry meant the world. He walked over with another cup in hand. "Mind if I sit?" he asked gently. Clara hesitated but nodded. "Sure, I guess." They began to talk. "Long day?" Samuel asked, noticing the hospital badge on her scrubs. 12 hours, she said. "I'm a nurse at Children's Memorial. Pediatric oncology. The kids there are incredible." Samuel listened, impressed. "That must be tough work." Clara looked down. "It is. But they're so brave, it keeps me going." Just then, her phone buzzed. She checked the screen and her smile faded. Her blind date had just canceled, and the reason he gave would break her heart. Clara's eyes scanned the message again, her hands trembling. Her blind date had texted, "Sorry, I looked up your profile. You seem nice, but I'm looking for someone more successful." The words hit her like ice. She tried to smile, but her throat tightened. She placed her phone face down on the table, hoping Samuel hadn't noticed, but he had. "Bad news?" he asked softly. She forced a laugh. "You could say that." "My date canceled. Apparently nurses aren't impressive enough." Samuel frowned. "Then he's a fool." Clara looked up, surprised by his tone. He leaned forward. "Anyone who takes care of sick children for a living is already the most impressive person in the room." Her cheeks warmed. No one had ever said something like that before. For a moment, she forgot how tired, broke, and unwanted she felt. But deep inside, Samuel was thinking something too, something he couldn't yet say. He wasn't just a kind stranger. He was the man who owned the very cafe she sat in, and soon Clara would find out. Samuel took a slow sip of his coffee, watching Clara as she stared out the window. The golden light touched her face, and he could see the quiet strength in her tired eyes. He wanted to tell her the truth, that he wasn't just a cafe worker, but the owner of Riverside Cafe and 2 other branches across the city. But he didn't. Not yet. "I'm sorry your date canceled," Samuel said softly. But maybe that's a good thing. You deserve someone who values kindness, not money. Clara smiled faintly. That's nice of you to say. But honestly, I'm just relieved. I only had $5 left till tomorrow. I was scared he'd order food and I couldn't keep up. Samuel's heart tightened. In a world full of people pretending to have more, this woman was quietly honest about having less. He made a decision in that moment, one that would change both their lives. Samuel leaned closer and said, Can I tell you something? Completely honest? Clara blinked. What is it? He took a breath. I own this place. For a few seconds, Clara just stared at him, unsure if she'd heard right. You own this cafe? She asked softly. Samuel nodded. Yes, I started Riverside Cafe years ago. I come here often, not to check the business, but to meet real people. Clara blinked in surprise. Why would someone like you sit and talk to someone like me? Because, he said gently, you're real. You didn't hide who you are. You didn't pretend. Clara lowered her eyes, embarrassed. I wasn't trying to be brave. I'm just tired of pretending I have it all together. Samuel smiled. That's exactly why you stand out. There was a silence, soft, comfortable, and full of understanding. The world outside the cafe kept moving, but inside time felt still. For the first time that day, Clara felt seen not for her job or her money, but for her heart. Samuel looked down at his coffee, then back at her. Clara, he said quietly, what if I told you I'd like to see you again? Clara felt her heart race. See me again? Like a date? She asked. Samuel nodded, smiling. A real one. No pretenses, no games. Just two honest people sharing a meal. Clara laughed softly. I should warn you, I'm not exactly living the dream life. I've got student loans, rent, and maybe $5 to my name until tomorrow. Samuel's eyes softened. Then you're exactly the kind of person I admire. My parents were the same, hardworking, always giving more than they had. For the first time, Clara didn't feel small for being broke. She felt proud. She looked up at him, a spark of courage in her tired eyes. All right then. But next time I'm paying for the coffee. Samuel chuckled. Deal, but only if you let me bring dessert. The laughter between them filled the air like sunlight. Quiet, simple, but real. Neither of them knew it yet. But this was just the beginning of a story that would change both their lives forever. 6 months passed like a dream. What started as one cup of coffee had turned into something beautiful. Clara and Samuel had grown closer, not through fancy dates or money, but through late-night talks, honesty, and laughter. With Clara's help, Samuel started a new project, something close to both their hearts. Together, they opened a non-profit cafe that hired young people leaving foster care. The cafe gave them training, jobs, and a fresh start in life. Clara used her nurses' compassion and budgeting skills to make sure everything ran with care and purpose. Samuel watched her work and thought, she's the best thing that ever happened to me. Every corner of that cafe carried their story, a story that began with $5 and a cup of coffee. On the anniversary of their first meeting, Samuel asked Clara to return to the very same corner table. She didn't know it yet, but this night would change her life forever. That evening, the cafe lights glowed softly, just like the first day they met. Clara walked in wearing the same gray cardigan from a year ago. The same smell of coffee and vanilla filled the air. At the same corner table, Samuel was waiting, a small smile on his face. He took her hand gently. Clara, a year ago you walked in here with $5. Tired eyes and an honest heart. You could have pretended to be someone else. But you chose to be real, and that changed everything. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Clara gasped, her heart pounding. I'm not asking you to marry my success, Samuel said softly. I'm asking you to marry me, the man who saw your worth when you had nothing to give but yourself. Tears filled Clara's eyes as she whispered, Yes. And in that quiet cafe, surrounded by the smell of coffee and memories, their love story came full circle. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Black and Wronged for more stories that remind us what real love looks like. Tell us in the comments, would you choose love with $5 or wealth without warmth?